When was the last time you asked yourself if what you believe about life is truly your own? Look around you. You'll notice it quickly. Most people are trapped in a silent script, an invisible program that quietly shapes their lives. A voice that whispers day after day, there's not enough. Not enough money, not enough opportunities, not enough time, love, or peace. And that not enough isn't just a belief. It becomes a prison, subtle, silent, and deeply limiting. A mental cage that shapes every thought, every decision, every outcome. But here's the truth. Napoleon Hill wanted us to burn into our soul. Abundance isn't a prize. It's your starting point. Look at nature. One tree produces thousands of seeds effortlessly. A river flows without calculating how much it should give. The sun doesn't choose who to shine on. Creation speaks the language of abundance. And you are part of that same infinite intelligence. You weren't made for lack. You were made to flourish in every area of your life. And if that's true, if you were born for abundance, why do you often feel so empty? Because they taught you to look outside, to believe abundance is something to chase, to win, to fight for, but it's not. Abundance is a state of being, not a goal. It's a way of seeing life, interpreting it, relating to it. And when your lens changes, everything changes. He'll put it plainly. Thoughts are things, and those things, those ideas, shape your reality. If you think from scarcity, you'll keep repeating the same outcomes no matter how hard you try. But if you align your mind with the frequency of abundance, you begin to attract more of it without chasing, without forcing, just flowing with what was already yours by divine right. So the real question isn't, is there abundance? The real question is, are you ready to stop seeing it as something out there and start feeling it as your natural state? This is where the old formula breaks apart. We were taught that we must first have in order to feel, have money to feel secure, have success to feel worthy, have love to feel complete. But Hill whispered a deeper truth. You must first be, then do, and only then. You will have. True abundance isn't earned. It's embodied. It's not the result of what you possess. It's the result of what you believe. And here comes the powerful paradox. How can you feel abundant when your reality screams scarcity? It's like asking you to smile while your heart is breaking, to have faith in the middle of the storm. And yet, that's where the mystery lies, and the magic too, because it's not about denying what you're living. It's about understanding that what you're living is just an effect. And if you want a new result, you must become a new cause. The mistake isn't feeling fear or frustration. The mistake is believing those feelings are permanent. Abundance begins the moment you choose to shift your frequency. Even when your bank account is empty, even when the world doesn't recognize your worth, even when the miracle hasn't shown up yet, but you're already grateful. Hill explained it clearly. Faith is the starting point of all accumulation of riches. Not faith in religion, but faith in yourself, in your mind, in your ability to rise above even when everything tells you not to. Abundance, then, is not having more. It's remembering you've always been more than enough. And if that's true, why do so many struggle to experience it? Because between you and abundance, there is no physical distance. There is energetic interference, internal blocks, emotional states that act like clouds covering the sun already shining inside you. And here, we need to speak without masks. You don't overcome those blocks by ignoring them. You transform them with awareness. The first great block is fear. Fear of loss, fear of lack, fear it won't be enough. That fear wears the mask of caution, but it's really inherited programming. A voice that says, it's not safe to have too much. If I gain, I'll lose. If I shine, someone will try to dim me. Hill was crystal clear. Fear is simply faith, flipped upside down. It's belief in a negative future. Another block, constant comparison. We believe that if others succeed, there's less left for us. We measure ourselves by someone else's story and forget. Abundance isn't a competition, it's a frequency. Then there's insecurity. It makes you doubt your worth, convinces you that you don't deserve more, leads you to settle for crumbs when you could be sitting at a feast. And finally, the trap of desperate effort, the idea that everything must cost sweat, sacrifice, and struggle. But here's the truth. When you vibrate in scarcity, your energy contracts. You think small, decide out of fear, and attract more of the same. It's like wanting a flower to grow and while you're standing on it. What if I told you that everything you're living right now started with a single thought? Napoleon Hill said it clearly. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But here's the hidden trap. If your mind is filled with thoughts of lack, your energy is planting seeds that simply cannot bloom. It's that simple. So, what can we do? The first step is not to fight. It's to observe, without guilt, without judgment, just radical honesty. Observe when you're operating from scarcity. Recognize which emotions are running the show. Identify those thoughts that play on repeat like a broken record. And when you see them, don't push them away. Thank them, because they're showing you exactly what frequency you've been broadcasting. And only when you become aware of that can you choose something new. To truly understand abundance, you must stop thinking of it as a thing and start seeing it for what it really is, a frequency. Yes, like a radio station, you can be tuned into scarcity, or you can shift the dial to abundance. Whatever you tune into, that's what you experience. To visualize this, think of water. Water, at its core, is always the same, but its form changes depending on its vibration. When it vibrates low, it becomes ice, rigid, dense, limited. At a moderate frequency, it flows as liquid, flexible, adaptable. And at high vibration, it becomes vapor, free, expansive, impossible to contain. Your consciousness works exactly the same way. Scarcity is ice. Abundance is vapor. They are not two different things. They are the same you, expressed at different frequencies of thought, emotion, and awareness. Hill understood this long before science could explain it. He taught that everything we are begins with a thought, and a thought, charged with emotion, becomes our reality. Your mind is the generator of your frequency, and your emotions are the fuel. Where is your attention focused each day? If it's on what's missing, what's wrong, what you can't do, you're vibrating as ice. But if you focus on what's here, what's possible, what's already good, you're vibrating as vapor. And in that state, opportunities flow to you, ideas blossom, synchronicities appear, because it's not about force, it's about alignment. When you shift your frequency, everything that resonates with your new energy begins to find you. It's not magic, it's energetic coherence. And here's a truth most people ignore. You can't hold two frequencies at the same time. You can't live in fear and expect to attract freedom. You can't act from scarcity and hope for abundant results. You can't keep your eyes on the ground and expect to fly. As the proverb says, you can't sit on two chairs at once. Every moment you're choosing a frequency, and that choice shapes your experience. That's why it's not about forcing your outer reality to change. It's about elevating your inner energy. Because the universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your vibration, and everything you experience on the outside is just a mirror of what you carry within. That's called the law of the mirror, one of the most powerful and most overlooked spiritual laws. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But there's a catch that, if you notice, if what lives in your mind are thoughts of scarcity, your energy is planting seeds that cannot bloom. That simple, that clear. So what do we do? The first step is not to fight, it's to observe, without guilt, without judgment, with brutal honesty. Observe when you are operating from scarcity. Recognize which emotions are dominating you. Identify those repetitive thoughts spinning in your mind like a broken record. And when you recognize them, don't reject them. Thank them because they have come to show you what frequency you are emitting. And only when you can see that clearly can you choose something different. To truly understand abundance, you have to stop seeing it as a thing and start understanding it for what it really is. A frequency. Yes, like a radio station. You can be tuned into the scarcity channel, or you can change the dial. Whatever you tune into, that's what you will experience. To help you visualize it better, think of water. Water is always the same, but its form changes according to its vibration. When it vibrates low, it becomes ice, rigid, dense, limited. When it vibrates a bit higher, it flows as liquid water, adaptable, moving. And when it vibrates high, it transforms into vapor, free, expansive, impossible to contain. Your consciousness works the same way. Scarcity is ice, abundance is vapor. They're not different things. They're different expressions of the same energy. Napoleon Hill understood this before science could explain it. He taught that everything we are begins with a thought, and that a thought held with emotion becomes reality. Your mind generates your frequency, and your emotions are the fuel. Where are you focusing your attention every day? If you focus on what's missing, on what you don't have, on what you fear, you're vibrating like ice. But if you focus on what is there, on what you can do, on what's already present, you are vibrating like vapor. And when you are in that state, ideas flow, opportunities find you, coincidences align. It's not about forcing, it's about aligning. When you raise your frequency, everything vibrating on that same wavelength begins to find you. It's not luck, it's not magic. It's energetic coherence, and here comes a truth many ignore. You cannot hold two frequencies at the same time. You cannot live thinking in fear and expect to attract freedom. You cannot act from scarcity and expect abundant results. You cannot look at the ground and expect to fly. As the proverb says, you can't sit in two chairs at once. Every moment you are choosing a frequency, and that choice defines your experience. That's why it's not about forcibly changing your external reality. It's about raising your internal energy, because the universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your vibration, and everything you are experiencing outside is a reflection of what you carry inside. This is called the law of the mirror. One of the most powerful spiritual laws, and also one of the most ignored. Napoleon Hill put it clearly: whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But there's a catch that few notice. If what lives in your mind are thoughts of scarcity, your energy is planting seeds that cannot bloom. That simple, that clear. So what do? The first step is not to fight, it's to observe. Without guilt, without judgment, with brutal honesty. Observe when you are operating from scarcity. Recognize which emotions are dominating you. Identify those repetitive thoughts spinning in your mind like a broken record. And when you recognize them, don't reject them, thank them, because they have come to show you what frequency you are emitting. And only when you can see that clearly can you choose something different. To truly understand abundance, you have to stop seeing it as a thing and start understanding it for what it really is. A frequency. Yes, like a radio station. You can be tuned into the scarcity channel, or you can change the dial. Whatever you tune into, that's what you will experience. To help you visualize it better, think of water. Water is always the same, but its form changes according to its vibration. When it vibrates low, it becomes ice, rigid, dense, limited. When it vibrates a bit higher, it flows as liquid water, adaptable, moving. And when it vibrates high, it transforms into vapor, free, expansive, impossible to contain. Your consciousness works the same way. Scarcity is ice, abundance is vapor. They're not different things, they're different expressions of the same energy. You. Napoleon Hill understood this before science could explain it. He taught that everything we are begins with a thought, and that a thought held with emotion becomes reality. Your mind generates your frequency, and your emotions are the fuel. Where are you focusing your attention every day? If you focus on what's missing, on what you don't have, on what you fear, you are vibrating like ice. But if you focus on what is there, on what you can do, on what's already present, you are vibrating like vapor. And when you are in that state, ideas flow, opportunities find you, coincidences align. It's not about forcing, it's about aligning. When you raise your frequency, everything vibrating on that same wavelength begins to find you. It's not luck, it's not magic. It's energetic coherence. And here comes a truth many ignore. You cannot hold two frequencies at the same time. You cannot live thinking in fear and expect to attract freedom. You cannot act from scarcity and expect abundant results. You cannot look at the ground and expect to fly. As the proverb says, you can't sit in two chairs at once. Every moment you are choosing a frequency. And that choice defines your experience. That's why it's not about forcibly changing your external reality. It's about raising your internal energy, because the universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your vibration, and everything you are experiencing outside is a reflection of what you carry inside. This is called the law of the mirror, one of the most powerful spiritual laws, and also one of the most ignored. A positive mental attitude is the foundation of all riches. And if there is one tool that can transform your mind, raise your vibration, and align your life with abundance, that tool is gratitude. Gratitude reprograms your focus. Instead of concentrating on what's missing, you train your mind to see what is abundant, and what you acknowledge expands. Another powerful technique is what I call conscious selective perception. It's about voluntarily choosing what you want to see in your reality. Do you see the traffic, or do you see the opportunity to nourish your mind with an audiobook? Do you see negative news, or do you see the perfect moment to turn off the noise and reconnect with yourself? The outside world is just a reflection of your focus, and what you focus on grows. Then there is a deep practice that few understand, but that changes lives, living in the feeling of already having. I'm not just talking about visualization, I mean feeling inside yourself, as if you were already that version of you living in abundance. It's not about pretending, it's about building a vibrational bridge between who you are and who you want to be. Close your eyes, breathe, and ask yourself, how would I walk if I knew abundance was guaranteed? How would I breathe if scarcity didn't exist in my mind? How would I love if I already felt complete? Napoleon Hill called this auto-suggestion, and he defined it as the means to feed the subconscious with creative, powerful, expansive thoughts. Every time you enter that emotional state of, I already have, you are rewriting your identity. You are telling the universe, I am ready, I am aligned, I am vibrating at the right frequency. And here's another technique, seemingly counterintuitive but absolutely transformative. Generosity. I'm not talking about giving because you have a lot. I'm talking about giving because you know that what flows through you never runs out. Generosity born from scarcity breeds fear. But generosity born from trust creates expansion, and it's not always about money. You can give your time, your energy, your listening, your attention, your inspiration. Every time you give with the certainty that there is more than enough, you are telling the universe, I am a channel of abundance, not its limit. And finally, one of the most powerful practices, seeing possibilities where others only see limits. When something shows up as an obstacle, ask yourself, what opportunity is this revealing to me? What resource have I not yet noticed? Abundance speaks the language of possibility, and those who train their mind to ask the right questions open doors others didn't even know existed. So far, we have talked about vibration, mental patterns, internal reprogramming. But all of that rests on one central truth, a truth that can hurt or set you free. And Napoleon Hill said it with total clarity: the cause of your wealth or poverty lies in your mind. It's not in the economy. It's not in your boss. It's not in the country where you were born. It's in your state of consciousness. And this truth, although uncomfortable, is your greatest power. Because as long as you believe the causes of your life lie outside, you will remain a victim of circumstances. But the day you understand that your consciousness creates your reality, that day you become something greater, the architect of your destiny. Your day-to-day life is designed for the opposite, because if your daily actions don't reflect your inner vision, then you are disconnected from your creative power. Every day is an altar, and the time you place upon it is an offering to what you truly believe you deserve. Do you want abundance? Check your calendar. Where is the space for creativity? Where is the sacred moment to think, to give thanks, to envision? Or have you filled every hour with obligations that don't belong to you? One of the most overlooked secrets of those who live in fullness is not that they have more time. It's that they have chosen to focus only on what is essential. They don't get scattered. They don't allow their energy to dilute in 1,000 directions. They have made focus their tool for manifestation, and you can do it too. Because time doesn't just measure life, it shapes it. And you know what else? Your relationship with time is also a reflection of your relationship with abundance. If you always feel like you don't have time, chances are you also feel like you don't have money, you don't have energy, you don't have opportunities. Why? Because scarcity is not a condition. It's a pattern that manifests in every area of your life. Change the way you talk about time. Stop saying, "I don't have enough. I don't have time for that. I'm too busy." Because those phrases don't describe your reality. They create it. Start declaring, "My time is valuable. I choose where I invest my energy. Today I prioritize what expands me," because every hour that passes without awareness is a lost seed. And every hour that passes with intention is a seed of abundance. And here comes another key concept: rhythm. Abundance doesn't always arrive in a straight line or at the pace you desire. But that doesn't mean it's not arriving. We live in a culture of immediacy, and that urgency kills faith. We want results now. We want signs now. But nature does not work with anxiety. Nature works with rhythms, cycles, maturation. A seed doesn't grow faster because you stare at it, and your life won't blossom faster because you despair. Desperation is also a language of scarcity. Learn to trust the invisible timing, the silent work of the universe, the spaces between what you sow and what you harvest. Because there, in that space, you are also being transformed. Bamboo spends years growing underground before it breaks the surface. But when it sprouts, it grows more than 20 meters in weeks. Not because it suddenly grew, but because all that time was root. Maybe you don't see results now, but you are forming roots. And without roots, no tree can stand. So breathe, trust, and honor time, not as a burden, but as your most sacred channel to abundance. Now that you know you are the cause, the channel, and the source, there is one more aspect we cannot ignore: your body. Yes, that vehicle you inhabit every day, the one you sometimes neglect, underestimate, or treat like a mere machine. Your body is not a bystander in your transformation. It is an active participant, a vibrational amplifier, an instrument that emits, sustains, and projects the frequency with which you choose to live. You can have elevated thoughts. You can speak powerful affirmations, but if your body is tense, exhausted, disconnected, that frequency cannot be sustained. Your physiology does not lie. Your posture, your breathing, your energy, everything communicates. And what it communicates also creates. Have you noticed how you breathe when you feel fear? How you walk when you don't trust? How your body shrinks when you think you don't deserve? And conversely, have you felt the difference when you breathe deeply, when you walk upright, when you speak from the heart? The mind influences the body, but the body also reprograms the mind. It is a two-way bridge, and if you want to live in a frequency of abundance, you must incorporate the body as part of your spiritual practice. So, how do you do it? Start by moving with presence. Walk as if you already have everything you desire. Breathe as if your life were light and free. Speak with the energy of someone who knows the universe is already conspiring in their favor. This is not acting, it is physically aligning yourself with a deeper truth. It is reminding every cell in your body that you no longer live in survival mode. You live in expansion. Practice stillness. Close your eyes every day, even if just for 5 minutes. Connect with your body from gratitude, not from demand. Feel your hands, your feet, your breath, and repeat internally, I am safe, I am present, I am available to receive. Because abundance doesn't enter only through the mind, it also enters through the body. And if your body lives in contraction, constant tension, chronic fatigue, it will be very hard to sustain a high vibration. Start nourishing your body as you would a temple. Choose what expands it, not from obsession, but from respect. Eat to vibrate, not just to fill yourself. Sleep to regenerate, not just to disconnect. Move not to punish your body, but to remind it that it is alive. Napoleon Hill spoke of desire defined as the initial spark of all creation. But that spark needs an energetic system capable of sustaining it. And that system is your body. You are not just mind, you are not just emotion, you are embodied consciousness. And your body is the channel through which that consciousness manifests. So stop seeing it as a passive tool. Activate its power, love it as part of the process, listen to it, honor its signals. Because if the body does not feel safe, the soul cannot expand. This is the closing of a cycle, and perhaps the beginning of a new life. Not because you now know more, but because now you feel differently. Because something inside you has ignited, and that fire doesn't go out. It transforms. Always remember, you are not here to survive day to day. You are here to manifest a reality coherent with your greatness. And it all begins with what you choose to sustain in your mind, in your emotion, in your body, and in your time. Abundance is not a goal. It is a way of inhabiting the now.